Age, why is age important to determine? I talked about density. Now age, why would age be important to discuss, as we saw with those cactus finches? Also age structure. Age structure tables are very important in order to provide information on survival, reproductive success, and how populations relate to their environmental factors. So here I can actually see a life table for the US population in 2012. And what I see here are actually age intervals. Here I have individuals from ages 0 to 10 years old. And what that's telling me is, okay, the number of living, those are the individuals that are living, sample population at that age range. So it's saying, all right, about 100,000 individuals were living at that age interval. Now, I have number of dying during that interval. That's how many people are dying during that age interval. So the chance of survival, now using that equation located at the top, where we use the previous information, I can actually get a chance of that individual surviving in that age range. So that's about a 99.2% chance, if you are between the ages of 0 to 10 years, that you will survive. You have a 99.2% chance. That's pretty high. If we keep looking at our population and we actually go down, I actually want to hit up, let's say, we keep going down. Boom, here's my age range between 30 to 40 years old, and about 98,040 individuals live at that age range. 1,234 die in that age range in 2012. So then, given that math, I have a 98.7% of surviving. Still pretty high. Not a lot has changed, but it has changed. Okay. If we go all the way down, I kind of want to hit up this 80 to 90 range. Here, 80 to 90 years old, I have less individuals. As you can see, a lot less, 57,855 individuals. About 33,653 of those individuals will die that year. That's the number of dying individuals. That's a 41.8% chance that that individual will survive in that year. We can actually see the chance of surviving is much lower for those in their older years compared to those in their younger and even younger years. So age structure is important to give us this information. What I'm giving you here is called a life table that tracks survivorship. It really helps determine the most vulnerable stages of the life cycle, as we saw with those cactus finches as well. I'm not going to have you guys do this math where you calculate the chance of surviving. I do want you to be able to understand this information given to you if I give you a table such as this. There are 3 types of survivorship curves. Talking about survivorship, depending on the species, you can either be type 1, type 2, type 3. Let's discuss them. So survivorship curves plot the number of individuals still alive at each age and the maximum lifespan. So for this chart here, we have the percent of survivors. So 100% are going to survive over here on this part of the y-axis. Not very many are going to survive on this part of the y-axis. So the percent of survivors, and then the maximum lifespan. Here, they're quite young, and as you get over here toward the right side of that x-axis, you're quite an older age. So type 1 curve, I want to discuss that one first, highlighted in red here. Species with a type 1 curve usually produce few offspring, but they give these offspring very good care, which increases the likelihood that they will survive to maturity. So ignoring type 2, type 3 right now, if I look at the y-axis, a very high likelihood that that offspring will survive. And as that offspring, so here's its infancy, as that offspring gets older and older, there's still a high likelihood that that offspring will survive. Still pretty high, still pretty high. They're getting older, now definitely an adult. They're getting older, and as they age to their maximum age, then they have a less likely chance of surviving, to where that decreases to about 0 for the percent of survivors. So that's type 1. Humans are type 1. That's you guys. Type 3 is what I want to discuss next. Type 3 we can actually see here with this barnacle. Type 3 species have a very low survivorship for their offspring, but then, so here I can see the offspring and very, very young, not a lot survive. We can see a drastic decrease in them being born to a lot of them dying off. So they don't provide a lot of care for their offspring. They probably have a lot of offspring so that those that do survive actually have a high survivorship until their maximum lifespan. So very low chance of survival for the very young. High chance of survival. We can see that drop, but then we don't see a significant drop until death for those individuals. And then it goes to 0. These are type 3 species. Type 2 are neither type 1 nor type 3. They just kind of have a, I won't say smooth ride in life, but they don't have a drastic drop at any point in their life. So it's kind of even survivorship for the majority of their life, showing a more significant higher survivorship for the young, and then in the midline about 50% until the very old have a low survivorship. It's like this squirrel here. So these are intermediate type 2 species.